Call of Duty Black Ops 3. Let's talk about it. So I know Call of Duty Black Ops 4 came out after this, as well as Infinite Warfare. However, I wanted to talk about Black Ops 3 first because of several other reasons that I'll talk about on a different date, and I'll probably end up combining those two games together when I talk about them. Anyways, so Call of Duty Black Ops 3 was released November 6th of 2015, I believe. I know it was released in November of 2015. I'm just not sure about the specific date. And I know it took a little bit of flack when it first came out because of the kind of little bit it strayed, and that it took a lot of inspiration, it felt like, at least for me and some of the other people I know who played this game, in the campaign from Advanced Warfare as well as Ghosts, which both of those games took a lot of flack, but I'll review those at a later time as well and explain the situations with those games. So what I'm specifically talking about is that unlike Black Ops and Black Ops 2, where Black Ops, it had some storyline along the lines of, the Cold War situation, and then obviously Raul Menendez and that whole situation, and just Woods and all of them figuring out what was going on. And then Black Ops 2 was the kids, essentially, figuring out everything that had happened to Woods and Hudson in the past, but also still facing down Raul Menendez. And then, Black Ops 3 takes place 40 years after that. So, I believe Black Ops 2 was set in 2025, which means that this would be set in 2065. So now there's all these, cybernetics, brain chips, robotics, robots that look like humans, like humanoids. All these just kind of weird things that didn't make much sense in the campaign itself. However, there's still some things there that were good. I personally did enjoy, if I'm not following the Black Ops line, I did enjoy having the robotics in the game. I did enjoy the cybernetics. I enjoyed the story where, you're struggling to figure out what of your memory is actually real, what actually did or didn't happen, as well as also being influenced by someone else to, figure out what actually did or didn't happen in your memory, and telling you that things that might have been true weren't true, and things that were true might not be true, but also influencing you one way or the other from an outside standpoint that wasn't beneficial to you either. So there's just a lot of cool things to me in the campaign. However, like I said, when I take it in the Black Ops line, I didn't particularly like the way the story was done. I would have liked to see more closely to Black Ops 2, not 40 years later. A little bit more tied into the Black Ops 2 storyline, continuing it, kind of rounding out the story. So I was a little disappointed by that, because that's kind of why I liked the Black Ops games. I preferred Black Ops to Modern Warfare ever since they came out. So that's kind of where I was at with the campaign. It was fun. It was enjoyable. I mean, it's still fun to go back and play through now. It's not like it's a bad campaign or anything like that. It just wasn't my preferred style for the Black Ops storyline. As far as the multiplayer goes, personally, I think that Black Ops 3 had the best maps of any Call of Duty game. The reason being is because they were so unique. They incorporated so much water elements, other movement styles. There was a map where you had to play on essentially a picnic table with a bunch of giant sized food because you're really small. You're basically the size of ants. Some really cool stuff like that. The maps were gorgeous in it. I loved the weapons in it, even though they didn't really follow traditional Black Ops styled weapons. They were really advanced, futuristic weapons, but still, they were still really cool. It was a lot of fun to play it. I loved playing with the bots, which is something that, Black Ops 2 kind of introduced. Not specifically Black Ops 2, but Black Ops 2 made the bots more popular. But anyways, being able to play against AIs as well as the actual current multiplayer was still fun. It was still enjoyable. So even now, Black Ops 3 still has active servers, and I've gone back and I've played Black Ops 3 with my friends still. Because, we like to go back and play, especially on that picnic table map. It's just so cool to play that. I personally love it. It's one of my favorite things about World War II as well, where it has the, sandbox map in it, and you're just in a sandbox, and the guy's holding a, essentially a magnifying glass and, lighting up the ground, and you gotta watch out for the heat beams, and, all that kind of stuff. Anyways, we'll get back to Black Ops 3. So the multiplayer was pretty good. I never really ran into any issues with it while I was playing, not even like the usual like cheaters and hackers. Now, obviously, now the game's a lot different than it used to be, as there's just not that many active players on it, because a lot of people liked Black Ops 4 multiplayer better, I guess. I don't agree, but most people did. And it's also really old. It is almost a 10-year-old game. I mean, it's 8 years old right now, almost. So just having not much time. Games kind of get abandoned, they kind of get forgotten, left out to dry, whatever you want to say. So the multiplayer just really isn't there anymore. But it is still fun to go against the bots, have all of that. The, what are they called? Operator specials or whatever, where you get like the bow, or if you play as the robot, you get like a minigun. Or there's a whole bunch of different specialist abilities that you can use. A lot of fun to play with those. It's not personally my favorite thing to use, but it is still fun. It's fun because it's different, but I don't personally enjoy it because it's not really Black Ops, if you know what I mean. Anyways, moving on from that part. The zombies was alright. I didn't really like it because it focused more on like alien-ish themes and some weird like teleporting things and weird movement mechanics and the stupid bubblegum things, essentially, where you got these different abilities but they were only temporary, they didn't last forever. It wasn't very enjoyable to play through because of the bubblegum specifically. And so many of the bubblegums were really rare and really difficult that people were like trading them and buying them online for like hundreds of dollars in certain cases for some of the really rare ones. And it was just ridiculous. Just so dumb. And I hated it. So I never really got into that version of the zombies. However, there was a different version of the zombies, which I think was like horde mode or something. Nightmare, that's what it's called. Nightmare mode. And that's where you could play through like the campaign and certain things like that. But instead of having enemies being, robots or cyber suits or whatever, they were all zombies. And that was really fun. I loved doing that. I wish that came back to Call of Duty, because I would love to keep going back through and playing through the campaign like that. Makes it feel like not Black Ops, Back 4 Blood, where it's got that kind of campaign with the zombies aspect. I would love to see that come back to Call of Duty. So overall, the game's pretty decent. It's a lot of fun to play through. It's not quite a Black Ops game in my opinion, just because it doesn't really follow the story much. It does a little bit, but not much. But as a standalone Call of Duty game, I would say it's really good. Definitely worth checking out for the campaign, for the AI multiplayer experience, for going back through and playing through the campaign with the zombies with your buddies or whatever you want to do. There's a lot of reasons to go back to this game. So if I were you, I'd definitely check it out, because it is still a lot of fun even 8 years later.